How you guys doing? Welcome back to Conversations Over Chess. You guys are in for a treat for this one. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. The woman that's stopping by today is really a jack of all trades and a master of everything. Before I get to the introductions, as always, go back, check out all the episodes, support the channel. We are becoming a network, and it's always just fun when things are changing around here. Without further ado, this young lady that is stopping by, it's going to be a good treat for you guys. Please welcome the lovely Lydia to the show. How's
Hi.
everything going?
Pleasure.
Thank you for coming to the show. How are
Thank
you doing today?
I'm great. I'm blessed. How are
Yeah,
you?
listen, I'm blessed and highly favored now.
Amen.
Highly favored. Um, Jack of all trades.
Yes.
The one thing that I want to start at is that whenever I have a jack of all trades on the show, they wear a lot of hats.
I wear
What
them
is the
all.
most important hat that you wear that you would say?
I'm a mother.
Okay.
Yes. I'm a
Um,
mother first. Oh, like God's blessed me with three beautiful children.
all right.
I've got twins that are 11 and an 8-year-old boy.
Uh oh, twins.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like
Twins running in my family too.
great.
I was going to say twins running in
Good
the
to know.
family too.
Yeah, my aunt had 21 kids. 16 of them were
Hold on.
multiples. So
Flag on the play. Flag on the play, people.
exactly.
21 kids.
Yeah, but
How
I
did
was
she
blessed.
survive?
But yeah, I mean, there was no TV in Puerto Rico, so I'm sure she made it work.
Okay.
But I was blessed with twins, boy and a girl twins. So it's like raising husband and wife. But
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I got a beautiful daughter who, she looks up to me a lot. So I have to wear all the hats.
So I have twin sisters who
Okay.
have twin daughters.
Mhm.
One of them has twin daughters.
Right.
And whenever I see that just dynamic,
Right.
it's just like I love that. How is it raising a young lady in this climate today? Because it's different from the world that you and I grew up in.
Right. Well, here's my thing. I always try to tell my kids, like, especially my daughter, you can't be pretty and naive and then stupid. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to make sure that my daughter's beautiful. She's
Shouts out to the daughter.
she's
Shouts
beautiful.
out.
She's absolutely beautiful. But I'm also teaching her like everything that I know, and
Okay.
I'm also teaching her that I want her to also know like it's okay to be vulnerable in this world, but I also need her to be tough because this world is full of vultures. So
Definitely.
it's very important for her to know that like mommy got you. Just keep on doing you. And I always tell her like it's hard to be pretty, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be smart.
So you brought up a good topic that has actually been a hot topic for myself. A young lady that was on the show. Shout out to Antea. I'm sure I'm butchering her name. I always butcher her name. Apologies. But she had said that being pretty is hard. And when I
Yeah.
clipped that up and put it on social media, I'm sure that was going to garnish a lot of attention.
Right.
Speak to pretty privilege. Speak
Okay.
to the hard struggles that you face while being pretty, and then how did you combat those things?
All right. So first, pretty is privilege, right? But it's also responsibility.
What do you mean?
All right. So if I'm pretty, right, I have to be pretty, smart, do it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain things in life that you can't buy with pretty, you know?
Very true.
And then on top of that, if I'm pretty, I get everything that I want, but it comes with a cost. Not everything in life is free.
For sure.
And I don't want to pay that cost just because I'm pretty.
What does that cost specifically?
I mean, if you're talking at a man, like with men,
Yeah.
they want something more than just a pretty face.
Sure.
You understand what I'm
I see
saying?
what you're saying.
As far as I can go in and be pretty going into a job interview doesn't mean I'm going to land a job.
Very true.
I need to have some brains behind it, right? And that's the reason why I wear many hats, because I can't be pretty and stupid. I tell my daughter all the time, you can't be pretty and stupid in this world.
Yeah.
You're going to be pretty and you're going to be smart, because I don't want you to have to be pretty and deal with somebody that you don't want to deal with just because you're pretty, and
No, for
can
sure.
be foolish.
How do I phrase the question? So an individual that knows that they're pretty, right? They're in the fella community. That's actually not a thing, but us guys, we speak.
Right?
We always talk about the woman that knows that she's pretty,
Right.
right? How does one not become egotistic in knowing that they're beautiful, and then also seeing the other side of balancing that you know that you are, and those who are egotistical? Like,
Okay.
what is your vantage point on that?
So my thing is this, like, I'm pretty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also come from struggle. So I remember that first. I don't care. And that's the thing. My looks, great, no problem. But what makes me pretty is my heart.
Yeah.
I don't care about being pretty. When you speak to me, that makes me pretty. On the outside, it's great. But you like being pretty and not having a good heart,
Yeah.
it makes you just as ugly as everybody else.
Facts.
So I'm not doing that.
When did you come into the confidence, right? Because you can always say, like, okay, I'm pretty and pretty affirmations, but when did you actually find that confidence? I recently had confidence in myself this year. I always scream it to the high tops. And when did you find that confidence for yourself, though?
Well, I was in a relationship with my children's father,
Okay.
and for a while, like I thought before I met him, my self esteem was great, my ego was big, I
Mm-hmm.
was a shit, you know what I mean? And then when we got into a relationship, I just felt like he was trying to chip at my self esteem, and that's exactly what he did for a while.
Yes.
Um, I don't hold anything against him because more the fact of I learned so much more, but it took for me like about 4 years, the last 4 years of my life, just to like really just love myself.
Yeah.
Um,
To build yourself back up.
Exactly. And then on top of that, like not involving anybody else to help me build my pretty. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I did it myself.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all my accolades on my resume can speak for itself. That's what makes me pretty.
I often like I don't like male bashing at all on the
Right.
show, right? Because I'm a male, but it's just that the responsibility that myself as a man, and then knowing other men in this world, I feel like it always starts and ends with us. How we lead, individuals will follow. So I say all that to say that I hate to hear that an individual tore down your self esteem,
Right.
because when I look back in my past, I, for my own insecurities, used to do that to my college sweetheart at the time. And it was more of an insecurity thing, and
Right.
a lot of individuals don't know how to admit that or articulate that.
Right.
So it's one of those, I'll run through the phone, I'll do this, that, and the third. And it's just like, yo, all of that. And she's here. Like, she's
Right.
physically here. Now, obviously, you can do whatever, backslide, but it's like, yo, her presence is here, bro. She's not anywhere else with anybody else.
Correct.
And it took me a long time to understand that is just like, her actions of her being here is enough to say and scream louder than anything else that I want you.
You're right.
You know, it just took some time. Now, obviously, I'm not the same knucklehead kid in college. I'm 28 years old now, but it took some time to understand that. So I say all that to say that hopefully all individual males get to that point where it's just like, bro, look in the mirror, figure out what the insecurities is of why those things are happening, and then get them fixed.
Well, there's a lot of men in this world that can't deal with pretty,
Hmm.
and I come with a lot. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I could do it all. My mother, you know, she's a single mother, and I was the man of the house. So I could put heels on and get busy, you know, anywhere
Yeah.
else. But I can also build, you know, I can also help build a bed and like build a desk,
Yeah.
and I've been doing all that stuff. So a woman who's self sufficient is very very hard to stand next to,
For sure.
right? So then I feel like my pretty or my accolades are not even just my power as a woman. It intimidated him. So, and
Yes.
intimidation is if you're gonna stand next to a woman, right? A queen such as myself, a queen such as
Yes.
my daughter, right? You have to be able to know that she's not standing next to a jester. She's not gonna allow a clown to sit next to her.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But if you're a clown running a circus, I'm not gonna follow behind you, sweetheart.
And you're touching on a lot of something that I want to dig deeper into, is that I feel like that is not necessarily the problem, but that's one of the things that is just prevalent in today's time.
Right.
Men don't understand that you are still a man. It doesn't demasculate you. I don't know how to pronounce the word, but it's not like less of a man
Right.
because she's more of a queen.
No.
And I feel like that's a problem. It's
It's
either like
terrible.
she gotta stay in the kitchen or she gotta do. I'm like, bro, she can
No.
do everything and you can do everything as well. You can do that together. I'm confused.
Yeah, exactly. You're building a
Like,
kingdom. Like when it comes down
yes,
to if you're 100% and I'm 100%, right? Cool, no
yeah.
problem. But when you fall a little bit, what you think I'm here for? In the Bible, I'm not trying to get
So
biblical,
let's get it. Says, turn to your Bible, Second Corinthians
but it's more
4
the
and
fact
5.
of the man is the head of the household, the woman's the neck. You can't be walking around with no neck.
Mm-hmm.
So because we support the man, but you have to make sure that you're strong. But when
Yes.
it comes down to it, you're allowed to go home and take off your crown, and I'm there to support you. You understand what I'm saying? And I expect the same exact thing in return, and not a lot of people can handle that.
No, for sure.
It's very intimidating, as well as like it's like a power trip. I don't need a I don't I'd rather just do everything on my own and run my own show
Exactly.
for that.
Exactly. Understood. Oh man, so many different places to go. One thing I want to talk about is the other hats that you wear. I personally know that you do a lot of work in the community.
Yes.
You do a lot of work for women, especially.
Yes.
Where does the love for giving back come from?
My father, he was a very before he passed, he just loved everybody, and I saw that growing up. He would say hi to everybody. My mother used to call him the mayor of New York.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere she'd always be like, "Choco, shut up," you know, because he was always saying. But I just like to help people, honestly. And I worked in a lot of clinics. Right now, I work with women who are pregnant or have children. Most of them they don't speak English. They're immigrants, and I just want to be a voice for somebody, right? And I always tell everybody, my participants, to my patients, to people who I've done outreach for, I always tell them half the time when I show up here, it's not for you, it's for me. And the reason why this is because y'all fill my heart up.
Yeah.
There's times that I went to work and I've been broken. I've suffered homelessness. I've been at the top of my career. I've been at the bottom of my career. I've had everything taken from me, and I've had everything. But when I reach these people's hearts, that's what fills my heart.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know. It's just it's in me. It's like I want to be the light of the world.
No, for sure. Giving back definitely has its place where it's just like it's self fulfilling. And it's not necessarily in like a negative connotation,
No.
but it's just like, yo, it feels good to give back.
Right.
Like the only thing that I get from this is just the joy of seeing you happy,
Right.
whoever that individual is. So it's just like it's great to have that. It's great to see that. It's like great to shine light on that because
Right.
not a lot of that is being circulated around in the social medias and this, that, and the third.
At all.
And I was thinking about something a couple days ago where we on the news
Right.
show a lot of the bad. Right,
Of
it's
course.
very rare that they'll show the good, but they will show it. I'm not going to say that they don't.
Right.
But then it had me thinking, like, how many nonprofits is in the world?
So many.
Like a bunch of them.
Too many.
And like
Right?
literally too many. And then you never hear about those like philanthropic things that individuals are doing.
Right.
But we hear about little bam bam that got shot at the corner every other
Right.
day. I'm like, yo.
You'll get 12 seconds of news footage on, oh my goodness, there's a beautiful
Yes.
outreach. And after that, it's like 14 minutes about how this person got shot up in a whole bunch of rallies.
And I don't understand that. I really truly don't. I'm just like, yo, like I wonder what would happen if I'm not gonna say propaganda, but if the medias of the world only preach good.
Yeah, right.
I
There would
wonder
be
if
no
we
media.
just like I wonder if we just fake the utopia, what would happen?
It wouldn't be anything. Because you know what? Like, it's easier to sell bad than it is to sell good.
And I think that's what it is.
That's all it
that
is.
It's just the business side of it.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's just business. I'd rather be
Yeah.
good, and I always tell my kids all the time, it's harder to be nice than it is to be it's harder to be mean. I'm sorry. It's harder to be nice than it is to be mean because everybody is not the nicest person.
Yeah.
So it takes more effort to be
For
nice.
sure.
So I always tell them, you see anybody getting bullied, you do what you need to do. Because, like, there's not a lot of nice people out here.
Yeah. You mentioned your father and you mentioned your mother. How
Right.
much of an impact had they had in your growth? Was it a 2-parent household or did they divorce? Like, so tell us a little bit about that.
So growing up, I had my mother and my father.
And
Right?
where you from originally?
I'm originally from the Bronx.
Okay.
I was brought up here to New Paltz when I was 3, and then
New Paltz is located where?
it's up 87 exit 18.
New
By
Paltz, New York.
Right, New
Okay.
Paltz, New York,
All right.
and it's by Highland, right between Kingston, all that. So I was brought up here because my mom thought that if she brought my dad away from the Bronx,
Yeah.
it would separate his alcoholism. It didn't. It made it worse.
Mm.
It was very it was abusive. My mother took me away from that.
Yeah.
And kind of like depending on what her situation was at the house, we would be back and forth from the Bronx.
Okay.
So seeing my mother do it on her own, she's definitely my superhero, my queen. She calls me her husband because I don't even let her I open up the door for her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
And were you an only child or?
no, I have 2 older sisters.
Okay.
One is in Florida that was like by part of my father. We actually met once, and I haven't seen her since I was like, that was like a couple years ago, but before that, I was 3. And then I was raised with my sister, and she actually lives around the area too.
Okay, that's good. When you see and when you say abuse specifically, you're saying that you were abused and your mother.
No, my mother was abused.
Okay.
Growing up, she was, she's been through some stuff.
Yeah.
And then growing up and seeing that, I kind of I had to go through my own shit too.
Yeah.
I was, I've been in domestic violence situations. I've been, abused and in multiple ways. And I just feel like that's part of my testimony.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it, but I also want other people to know that it's all right. And, I'll be there for anybody who's been through it because I can relate.
For sure. And it seems like where individuals who have been through so much,
Right.
those are the individuals that go on to pour into others.
Right.
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 So that direct correlation of saying, hey, I've been through something and I want to help those who've been through something.
Right.
How much of it is like just wanting to save everyone?
I don't want to save anybody.
Okay.
I want them to save themselves, but I want to be able to give you the resources, the same resource that people pass on to me.
Yeah.
There's so many people who came into my life just for like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
3 minutes, 3 months, and the people who I still, in contact with, just gave me a little bit of strength
Yes.
that I didn't know I had within myself. And then there's times and it's crazy because these people come in for a little bit of time and they're gone. And there's people in my life who I've been my entire life, and they take more from me than these people who know me for 30 seconds.
Definitely. And who was those individuals outside of your mom then that gave you those resources? Because when I look back at my life, my mom passed at 13, didn't know my dad, but then my aunt, who's been, still around to this day, took me in. My mom is an only child, so the woman that took me in is no blood relation, but
Right.
she dedicated her life to make sure I was okay.
Right.
So it's like that resource above everything else has been such a pivotal key in my development of becoming a man.
Right.
Because she'll tell me when I'm wrong, she'll tell me when I'm right, but she'll love me either way.
Right.
So it's just like, who was that resources for you outside of your mom, then?
Well, when I became a mother, they're my strength.
Okay.
And like I spoke with you before, it's an honor to be a parent.
Yeah.
At all, and just seeing them and just seeing, like, I'm able to get down on that level and be like, yo, I really don't know how it is to be, in your shoes, and you really don't know how it is to be with me neither. So we
Yeah.
learn from each other. A couple other people out of the community I've worked with, and I was able to reach out to me. I was able to reach out to, and they reach out to me as well. And it was just like times that you would never even think, like, I haven't talked to you in years, and all of a sudden they hit you
Yeah.
up, and it's like, it just, everything works full circle. So I'm just grateful.
Definitely. You speak about community, and this is a great time to just give a shout out to the location that we're at.
Right.
Brief little telemarketer. We're actually filming this at actually 104 William Street in Newburgh, New York, Wrld Izyorz location. Be sure to stop by and shop. Remember the Wrld
See
Izyorz.
there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember the Wrld Izyorz. Anywho, one thing that I just was thinking about as well is that resources, you go through the hard times. This is an each one teach one platform, and I always say that. So I want to get nitty gritty into the resources that's available that you can help other women or
Of
other
course.
people with. So speak to some of the resources and where can they find those resources, or are you at?
Okay, well, I work for the Institute for Family Health.
Okay.
I'm a pretty much a caseworker for women and children. I work with children for under the age of 2, because that's when my program ends. But they can always reach out to me. I just, either via you, or
Yeah.
they can just look me up directly. And I don't even need a referral. I just need to really do an intake with you. And then anything else I can really, anywhere else that they need help, I'm gonna do like my due diligence. You and
Yeah.
I've been on the phone before, and it's been after 5 o'clock, and I'm sitting here in my planner, and I'm calling people and stuff, because I
Yes.
genuinely want them to get the resources. I know a lot of people. I've worked with Colin out of the shelter over here in Newburgh on I think it's Johnson Street.
Okay.
I worked with the Boys and Girls Club, so I know a couple people over there. And then I'm directly working in Ulster, but I do have a lot of resources in Orange. So
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
And then where, if they wanted to find you, where, like, any emails or Instagram or anything, where can they
well,
find you?
my email is lydia.molina0710@gmail.com, and it's my name on Instagram, lydia.molina0710. I don't have any fancy names. I
Okay.
can't come up with nicknames or anything
Listen,
like that. Straight to it, Lydia
That's all
Molina.
right. You heard her here first, though. If you need any resources,
Yeah.
ladies, gentlemen, just
Yeah,
reach
anybody.
out. Yeah, so reach out for sure. The motto of Conversations Over Chess, although we're not playing an episode of chess on this episode, is every loss is a lesson.
Right.
So speak to a lesson that you learned from one of the lessons that you might have.
Okay. So one lesson that I've learned is to never let nobody dim your light. I initially, when going to my past relationships, I've always tried. I'm a giver.
Yeah.
And I'll give, and I'll deplete myself.
Mhm.
Right. And I have, all these accolades and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be like the person, like, to make you shine. And I'm gonna shine. I'll be in the background.
Yeah.
But one thing is this: is like, when you come into the world, you want to be able to bring your 100% and have that person be 100%, but don't let them take from your 100.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Definitely.
I'm not. That's one thing that I had to work on, because I'll be at 50%, and then you shining, you great, you up here.
Yeah,
And
there. I don't even know if it's politically right, but TD Jakes, he's a pastor. He has this saying where it's just like a giraffe should never have to dip its head to speak to, like, it's like you don't need to dip your head because now you're down there.
Right.
I'm at your level, so you need to continue to stand straight up. And there's no reason for me to have to lose in order for you to win.
I like that.
It's just that simple. It's and for the longest in the world of business, I used to think, like, in order for Toyota to do good, then Lexus had to do bad.
Right.
And one of my mentors, was like, bro, that's just not true.
No.
Everybody is enough to go around.
You could be great. Everybody could be great.
Literally.
Everybody can be
Literally.
great. There's not going to be another Lydia. There's not going to be another, Elijah.
Facts.
But you know what? You're going to be great in your stuff, and I'm going to be great in mine, and we could all be great. Not
Simple.
a lot of people like that. This competition. For what?
We can get into that now. I just feel like as a species, especially with our, like, Black, Spanish, like, it's just for some reason they just think it only could be one.
Why?
I don't know where that comes from.
Why?
I don't know if it's a slavery mentality. I don't know what you dub it as, but it's just like, yo, bro, when I go rent a car Enterprise, Avis, Budget, Key, like everybody's right next to each other. They all
Right.
eating.
McDonald's, Burger King,
So I'm like,
Subway,
yo,
all that.
Wendy's. I'm like, yo, everybody's eating, but for some reason we got that crabs in a barrel, and it's just like I just feel like collaboration is just gonna always lead to just greener pastures. Period.
Absolutely.
It's just that simple.
I completely agree. And my thing is this: I don't want to be in competition with nobody because nobody can do what Lydia does.
I literally say that all the time too about myself. Like, yo,
Right?
I can give you the juice, the game, but you're never gonna outwork me.
Ever,
Simple.
ever,
Like,
and like I'm a listen. And on top of that, if it's something that I'm passionate about, can't nobody stop my shit
exactly.
ever.
Facts though. One thing I want to talk about too, pivoting away a little bit,
Hmm.
is just that it's a political climate. You know, it's a
Okay.
presidential election.
Right.
We have a woman running,
Right.
and we spoke briefly about early on in the conversation just about how that dominance or just knowing oneself can be intimidating.
Right.
What is your own thought process of this political climate in the sense of what's happening in the world right now?
Well, I honestly do not participate in voting or any
Okay.
of that stuff. I believe that God is king.
All
That's
right.
just my thing,
I said
and
they don't drag you in the comments, but
that's
okay.
totally that's all right. I just think that I don't participate in it.
Okay.
It would be great. I haven't even followed it. I don't really get into it.
Yeah.
My kids would be like, "Mommy, Donald Trump. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go for him." And then we don't want Kamala. I'm like, I don't really go into it because I'm not knowledgeable on it, so
Yeah.
I can't speak on that. But listen, when it comes down to it, either we're gonna pay a little more or be a little bit less poor. That's just how I see it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I know other individuals think that like, hey, let's just get this bag because Trump about to get up in
I
there. Other
hear that
people
all
is
the
like,
time.
hey, black woman is for black people. So
Right.
it's just a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot
I'm
to.
just like, look, man. I just feel like above everything else, I don't want people to get like confused and like by like everything that's going on because you still got to go to work tomorrow. That's
Right.
that's how I personally be
What's gonna
feeling.
change for me?
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. Like who you vote for matters. Definitely encourage you guys to do that.
Right.
But it's just like you still got to go to work tomorrow go work for the same person
Listen,
to do the like you still got rent due on the first. So don't ever get it effed up and get all like up in arms. Like I
right.
promise you, this is every 4 years. Like
Right.
like
I feel like it's gonna keep. We're gonna have to keep doing what we're doing regardless. I highly encourage people to go and do what's best for them.
yeah, for sure.
Honestly, my mother growing up, my mother's a Jehovah's Witness, so
Okay.
she never voted. It was never really pushed in my household, so maybe that's the reason why I wasn't,
Hmm.
too, into it.
Yeah.
But I've never voted myself, and I mean, like I might, but I can't. I have too much else going on to sit here and really, really like get into the
Yeah.
nitty gritty. And I know it's important, and I encourage people to definitely go out and vote. I just personally just stay out of
Then a
it.
follow up question then would
Yeah,
be because you do a lot of like philanthropic work essentially, you've been through a lot.
correct.
If you were the commander in chief and the woman in charge, what would you change? Like if
What would
you
I change? I
had the
would I
ability.
would focus on working on the homelessness within the United States of America.
Okay.
We're sitting here giving out to all these other people that are homeless and stuff like that. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like I was just not even like last year. I was sleeping out of my car and
Yeah.
living at at a motel and like going to my storage to pick my stuff and I make decent money, and I couldn't even afford to
Yeah.
like live. So it's like we're in America, home of the free, but here I am. I can't. And then you go to DSS to try to get some help, and they
And they
won't
like,
help
nah,
you.
you actually a millionaire on our pay
Right.
scale.
They're like,
Nigga,
oh,
where?
right. And I'm like, damn, like all I need was like, $40
Facts.
for like some eggs and some milk. Do you see the prices? But I would work on the homelessness within the United States. And
I want to give a big shout out to Carrie. Carrie, a friend of mine who I met in college in Kansas. She always, since like day one, have always spoken about like I want to like work with the homeless,
see,
like foster children, things like that,
that's
because
beautiful.
it's like there's like she knows more of the stats, but it's like a direct correlation where it's just like, all right, you grow up in the foster care,
Right.
you're more likely to go into prison or get arrested or become homeless.
Right.
So she wants to fix that entire pipeline and the whole system surrounding that because most people, from my understanding, is like, I'll adopt you because I'm about to get a bag for you.
Right.
I'm not gonna
A
adopt
big bag
you.
too.
Facts. I'm
They
like,
get
I need to
some
adopt.
money out the motherfuckers.
I might need adopted. If you're looking to be adopted, please reach out to 646. Now playing with you. But
That's great.
DM me. But it seems like that's always been a passion of hers. So
Right. That's good. That's
it's
beautiful.
beautiful that you say that as well. I often think about like if I was in charge, I'm like an athlete guy. So I'm like, y'all want a basketball court or a gym where you can just work for
You're such a
free.
man.
I know. I really just want like so you know how we have the Armory in the city of
Of
Newburgh,
course.
where we have a indoor football field, massive
Ridiculous.
basketball gym, like places for like
Right.
arts and craft, like basically a boys and girls club on steroids.
Correct.
I want that like in every single inner city, but I want it to be free.
Free.
That's what I want.
Imagine
Because exactly.
Right.
That's what I would really do if I had like all the money in the world and have like
That's
the power. I
beautiful.
would want to do something like that because it's just like I think it's the Newburgh High Lines. They have a saying that kids in sports stay out of courts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really love that, and it's so true. It's so true.
If you keep your kids in, like my kids are all in sports.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm actually putting my daughter in softball. She'll be in track.
Hey.
My son plays basketball, and well,
There
my
you go.
oldest son plays basketball. My youngest plays little league.
Okay.
Baseball. So I'm out there with them getting busy, and then like when it's off season, I'm still running up and down the court making sure that they're not trash the next
There you
season.
go. Yeah, you gotta get better.
I'm not raising no loser. And it's like those 8 o'clock games. If you gonna suck, don't wake my ass up at 8 o'clock.
Facts,
You know
though.
what I
We
mean?
gotta
Like-
drive to Jersey, then we gotta play for 3 hours.
Then he
I'm
want a
like,
bacon, egg,
nah.
and cheese. Then he needs his protein shake, and then it needs to be
Yeah.
45 minutes to digest. If you all suck, Papa, you don't like it, no
Yeah,
problem.
it's
Keep my happy
okay.
ass at the
It's
house.
all right.
Exactly.
Talk to some of the other many hats that you wear. We spoke about how parent, obviously, above
Right.
everything else, you do a lot of philanthropic work. What other hats do you wear?
Well, I rented out the Boys and Girls Club a couple times.
Okay.
I did a Thanksgiving dinner. I've done a spaghetti dinner as well. Oh, it was kind of like a lunch.
Okay.
So we had a whole bunch of amazing sponsors. I had Adams sponsors, Torino's right here in Newburgh.
Okay.
They came through for me, and it was just such a beautiful event. This were homeless people. They had their own host. They had their own waitress. That was like one of the many hats. But
Yeah.
I've also done property management. I'm a paralegal.
Okay.
I've
Do
worked,
it all.
Yeah, I've worked for the criminal defense out the Bronx. I've worked for bankruptcy attorneys, regular like DUI, which was boring. I don't want to really talk about your tickets and how
Right.
fast you was going. I've worked in the medical field primarily
You did it
for
all.
like 10 years. Yeah, I just don't want to be like I always tell my daughter like you can't be pretty and stupid. It just doesn't work out.
I feel you.
Yeah, so I want to be able to do it all, and then if not, I'm gonna learn it. It's funny because now I just moved into like a new apartment,
Okay.
and the floors have to be redone, and that's gonna be my winter project. I'm gonna learn how to tile my floor,
Hey.
and then if anybody else needs, I'm gonna help you out.
He said, Tiling Company by Lydia, tiled by Lydia, coming soon. That's
There you
fire. Make sure you trademark that.
Right.
So, okay, you do a lot. You do a lot. Is there any, so you're a single mother, right?
Correct.
How it has having to do it all
Right.
balance out with the one thing, if at all, spouse, right?
Okay.
How does that balance even work out? Because you do everything. Where it's just like, I have to do everything.
Right.
But I'm sure like most other women that I know in the world would be like, I would love somebody to,
Oh my
help out.
God. Yeah, absolutely.
So speak about the balance and like, how does that?
All right. So I do it all. But I would like you said, I like
Yeah.
to kick my feet up and be able to, come home and just be like, I don't really want to do this, bah. Like,
Yeah.
help me out. But I also refuse to be in a relationship with anybody who's gonna not be on the same wavelength as me.
Okay.
Because I worked way too fucking hard, honestly.
I feel you.
to not deserve that. I'm here to like I'll be willing to help somebody else, but I can't bring you to
Yeah.
I can't bring you to my level.
Understood.
But I do know like I've been single for 4 years. I haven't been in anything exclusive. I've been dating, but I do like I think maybe my kids just gave me the okay that it's okay for me to have a boyfriend
Okay.
last weekend. So
They might regret that. If you're watching this, you might regret
right. Well, I know, and it's just like I don't want. I call them like I don't want to be preyed on. You know what I mean?
True.
Like the whole
that.
pretty
They
thing.
just worked you. They said, go work that corner, mommy. That's what they just said.
I'm like, mommy's not ready, And they're like, mommy, we're ready for a family.
Facts.
They want to be able to see me, not be alone when they're not with me. Because I share joint custody with their dad, which is cool.
Okay.
It works out great. They go to Marlboro School, so it's a better school district. I would say than when they were going to.
Okay.
And they're just like, mommy, when we're not here, you're all by yourself, and we want you to be able to share your time with somebody, and we're ready for a family. Then
Yeah.
my son was like, mommy, it's been too long since it's just been us. Like, we bored with
Facts.
your ass. So
He said, "Yeah, we ready for have some fun with
we want to
somebody else
play me.
today."
So I'm like, and then I'm not gonna have no damn kids. So I guess
Listen.
it's either a dog or a man at this point.
Listen, fellas, if you're watching, she gave you the DM earlier.
No,
Take it easy on her. No, but okay, because
Yeah.
it seems like it's just been like a theme for some reason in today's time where it's just like women having to do it all. It's just
Right.
like I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know everybody's individual dynamics and what's going on. And again, this isn't man bashing because there's a lot of great, wonderful men out there. Like
Men
I
are
often
great.
say it, like there's a lot of great men that's been in my life, and I appreciate them. Shout out to you. But it's just like it just seems like that's been a running thing.
Yeah, I mean, like when it comes down to it, like I don't mind doing it all,
Mhm.
but if I'm gonna have a man next to me and I gotta do it all, there's no point for you to be there. For real.
You might need to
'Cause-
say that again for the people in the
Right.
back.
If I gotta do it all, please do not come next to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna even bat my eye at you, respectfully.
Have you taken the time to figure out because it's been a 4 year run? It's like, do you know specifically what you want? Because I have not been in a relationship in about 2-3 years now.
Okay.
And
So
what I've
you're-
realized is that during that time, I had to first find the self love, like you mentioned,
Right.
but then I had to figure out like what is it that I specifically want.
Mhm.
And then the route that I was taking, I'm actually about to put myself out there, but
Oh, gosh.
the route that I was taking was like process of elimination, and I'm not. And again, that doesn't mean specifically I was having sex with all of these women. That's not the case.
Right. Ew.
I was not having sex with them, but I was just like, okay, I'll go out on a date. I'll go out on a date. I'll go out on a date. And then I'm like, nigga, I'm gonna date it out because this shit's not working.
Mm.
And then I just was like, I'm just gonna fall back. I'm
Right.
gonna just do whatever else, but I'm just good off of that right now.
Right.
So I used the process elimination, and then shout out to my cousin Brittany. She was like, "Have you ever just like wrote down what you wanted, like specifically?" I was like, "Yeah, I want somebody that doesn't necessarily just like fear God, but has a relationship with God.
Amen.
I also want an individual who's open minded in the sense that like." I know that Jesus died for me, but I also love learning about different religions.
Absolutely.
I love traveling the world. So it's just like when I'm dating in DC and they're just like, yeah, I've only known the DMV. Went to college in the DMV. My parents and da 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 da. I'm never leaving. I'm like,
Why not?
I've been in 5 different. I've lived in 5 different states in 5 years.
That's crazy.
Like DC, Utah, New York. I'm like Maryland. Like I'm like,
Jeez.
what?
Moved
What do
on
you
a lot.
mean? I'm like,
Right.
so all of that to say is, have you actually sat down across this 4-year journey to say, I know what I want?
Okay. So I have.
Okay.
There's certain things I like.
Take
And
your notepads out, fellas.
one thing I'm old school.
Okay.
I like to be courted.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Write that down.
Right? You know, take a little notepad.
Notepads. Nah, I'm playing.
I like to be courted, and I'm very strong, but I want to be able to be with somebody who I can be fragile with.
Yes.
I have this, I'm an alpha female or whatever, because men don't really like that term alpha female, right? I have to be strong. So if I could take my heels off and like have somebody just be like, come on, and just let me be fragile, that's exactly what I would look for in a person. Also consistency. You can be a lot of people, they have like this little mask on when you see him, and then 2 months later they're an asshole.
Facts.
And they don't want to throw out the garbage or something like
The
that.
doors don't get open no more.
Like I'm a real old school. Like, please open my door.
Yeah.
Please do not let me pump my own gas. And my sons, and my oldest son, 11, he pumps my gas. He opens my door. I'll be damned if my mother or my sister or my daughter open up their own door, because I just feel like, listen, we're in a day and age that there are women that don't respect men, and men don't respect women. And I tell my daughter the same exact way. I don't let my sons do certain things neither.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm maybe a little bit old school, but I wasn't able to see a healthy relationship growing up. So I had to create what I wanted for them to see. And that's the reason why I haven't been with anybody, like exclusively. I've dated or whatever, but
for sure.
I want them to see what mommy, like I'm trying to carve out how I want them to look at life. I also don't want to be having to take care of a man. Like, if you can't cook, I could teach you. I'm a great cook.
Talk that talk.
But I also want them to be self-sufficient.
Okay.
If I could bring all this to the table, and you could bring all that to the table, imagine the kingdom that we can create.
No, for sure. How do you balance the independency and the teaching of independence as well as knowing to, I don't like using the word submit, but learning to play whatever role that you decide to, right? Because I feel like sometimes because we come from broken homes,
Right.
myself and a lot of the individuals,
Correct.
we're taught a specific way from that broken individual.
Right.
So how do we combat the teaching of our broken ways that we learned from broken people to say this is how you be independent but also play a role on a team? Because I feel like sometimes it's like uber independent and it's just like now I'm 80 years old, no baby, no kid, no husband, and because I was uber independent because mommy said to be independent, right?
Right.
So how do you have that balance with both your not your husband, your son and your daughter?
Right. So my son knows that I can't teach him how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter knows I can teach her. I could teach her how to be a woman. I could teach her to be a wife. That's the reason why it's very important for my son to have a relationship with his father.
Okay.
I will never pull him away from his father ever because I can't teach you how to be a man. I can't teach you how to do those things.
Facts.
Right? And that's where it comes to, if I'm going to have a man in my life, he has to make sure that he is going to be a good example for, because I'm raising 2 kings in this corrupt world. I'm raising 1 queen. 2 men are going to come out and they're going to either, they're going to fuck it up.
Yeah. They're
Or they're
going to
going
be
to
good
do
or
well.
bad.
Exactly. So I they know their positions. But my son can do everything my daughter does, and my daughter can do anything my sons do. It's important for them to know that they can do it all, but it's okay to, you know what? Let a man be a man, let a woman be a woman. And it's very important for me to, teach them that.
See, all right, balance, okay.
I mean, I believe a woman is supposed to submit to a man, but I feel like when you say submit in this world,
in
it's
this world, it's just like, oh my God.
Right. No, it's like, because you know what? That man has to submit to you too. Because guess what? If I wake up and I'm cranky, guess what's going to happen? Your day going to be hell, baby.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Happy wife, happy life, fellas. Remember that.
Right. Exactly.
That's so crazy, man. So crazy. Do you know how to play chess?
I don't.
Do you know any moves, chess pieces?
No,
anything?
I do not know.
Man, it's all right. It's okay.
I mean, you're going to have to teach me.
I definitely will have to teach you.
For sure.
The last question that we typically always ask on the podcast, it's always 2. It's always, what's your favorite chess piece and why? We'll scrap that one. But the second to last question, or the last question on this one, we ask that you look into your camera.
Right.
And we say, imagine that the entire world is watching.
Okay.
We got all of New York, the Bronx. We got all 50 states, Brazil, Germany, like everybody, every single woman, like just imagine everybody's watching.
Right.
What advice would you give them to save them some heartache and pain in their life?
Never stop being you. There's never going to be anybody like you in this world. There's only one you. You cannot replicate. You cannot duplicate who you are. And just do everything from your heart. Everything comes from your heart. If you do it from your heart, it's pure. It's genuine. It's love. And never stop being that person, ever.
Simple as that. Mic drop. I want to thank you.
Pleasure.
It means a lot. I always
me.
say it that I have twin sisters who have twin daughters, and any woman who is furthering that path for women in this world means the world. So I appreciate you for all that you
Thank
do.
you so much.
Thank you for coming on the platform.
I appreciate you.
See you guys in the next episode of Conversations Over Chess.
Nothing never comes to a sleeper but a dream. So I'm woke, try and get that money any means. Used to wash mom, sweat them clothes to get them clean. Grew up in the slums, ain't shit that I ain't seen. And it's still free, all the guys till they free. Couple niggas crippin' and the others throwing bees. One thing for sure, they gon' all ride for me. Cause we ain't never phased no gang family.